everybody. This is episode 7 of Tandem Podcast, and this month it's with scooter rider and filmer Richard Hark. I've seen Richard's videos as he has progressed with filming, and I've definitely known him for longer than that because of him working at the Sky High shop. And lately he's been experimenting a lot, sort of pushing what we think is a normal scooter video. And then he premiered his, I guess you could call it mid-length montage at the after party of the Chicago Street Jam this year. And that was really inspiring to me, so I thought he would be a great guest. So here he is. Also, too, all the videos we talked about are linked in the description of this in chronological order. So you can look at them when you're done listening or as you listen along, but that'll give a lot more perspective on what we're talking about. So talk about your start in scootering. Did you grow up scootering in Chicago, and what was the first thing that got you motivated to do it?
Yeah, I grew up in Chicago. I've lived in the same house my whole life. I kind of started pretty late in terms of everyone else my age, because I'm 21 right now. I started scootering when I was 15 or so, I want to say, going into my sophomore year of high school. And I basically just started because my neighbor and I used to skate a lot back in the day, and I just snapped a board and happened to see a scooter at the flea market and bought that. And I knew people did tricks on a scooter, but I didn't know too much about it, so I just tried learning how to tail whip, and eventually kind of just stuck. And 5 or 6 years later, here I am today.
So what was the first scooter video that you saw that really moved you, that really inspired you?
It's kind of a tough one. I don't really have a single video that I saw. I didn't even know about scooter videos for a while too. I kind of didn't even watch them in the beginning. Just going to the skate park and trying to figure things out. No one around me even scootered, so for the first couple of years I didn't know anyone. I just kind of went with all my skater and biker friends. I think some of the first videos were some of Jordan's videos, maybe. Some of the stuff he did on Inside, I saw a few of those.
And was that before that, did you really know that people were doing tricks on scooters, or was it a big surprise when you saw videos like that?
Well, I know it was a thing, but I didn't realize that people were actually making full parts and all that. I didn't even think about that when I started. I knew that people were just kind of taking... I didn't even know about there was better scooters than a Razor for a while. I was just using a Razor for the first few months. And then I remember seeing some kid have an Ultra Pro, and I didn't even know they made that, and eventually I wound up getting one of those. But in terms of videos, I didn't even know about anything for a while, until I eventually just looked it up a few months after I started scootering and saw probably whatever videos came up typing in scootering on YouTube.
In what year do you think that was, in terms of Jordan's videos? At what point along was he?
I want to say 2011, 2012, something like that. I just remember coming across probably at the time just trick tip tutorials or something like that. And then I probably saw some of the district videos at the time, and Lucky, the Lucky Street video. I think that's probably one of the first ones.
Because I know you said not many people scootered around you, but wasn't Sky High sort of starting at that time?
Yeah, that was a weird thing too. I didn't even know about Sky High at the time, because I live in the suburbs just from the city, and basically it's a little far away from Tommy and Justin and all those guys who were doing stuff back in the day. I didn't even know about them until I ran into them one day in the city when I was riding the street with a couple of my friends. Ran into Tommy and all of them, and I had no idea about Sky High for the first couple of years of me scootering, even though it was already a thing.
So did you start to hang out with those guys after that?
Yeah, eventually I started hanging out with Tommy and the rest of the Tilt Sky High guys.
And do you have any stories from? I mean, those early days of Sky High seemed to be pretty amazing, just with all the people scootering that have either moved out of the state or don't really ride much anymore. Like Jeff Mraz and Jack Chaney has moved to Arizona. Kirk has moved away. Just all those like original people. Were you really like in the center of that as it was going on?
I definitely was not at the time. Basically, like I said, it was a little while before I found them. I'm trying to think of years. I want to say like 2013, maybe even is when I met everyone. So it was already sky high until already going on for a while before I ran into them.
But I mean, eventually you worked at Sky High. Like that's what it turned into. So like, before everything sort of dissolved, you were involved with it.
Yeah, eventually towards the end of Sky High, so probably, was it 2014, I want to say? The end of 2014 I started working there until it closed down. So I definitely was involved with that towards the end.
And what was it like working there? Like, what was your day-to-day duties?
Basically the typical stuff you would work at a scooter shop. I just was there whenever someone came in and built up scooters, put all the parts on the shelf, cleaned up the shop, all that.
What did you think when Sky High dissolved? Like when you got the news?
When I got the news, I was kind of surprised, like everyone else was. Just wanted to somehow find a way to keep it going. And it was just a lot of talking with all those guys and see if it was a possibility to keep it going, even though everything was happening. Kind of bummed on it and all.
It seemed like it, for the most part, worked out. It's like Tommy started Outset, and that's like the scooter parts retailer, and then Christian and Ian's just kept Sky High going, but they only do apparel now. So it kind of got split into two companies.
Yeah, in a way, it's kind of still a thing, I guess, with Outset, and Sky still making merch. So I'm glad that's a thing.
Did you ever think about working for Outset, like doing the same thing? I mean, I guess it's different because they don't have a retail shop.
Well, I kind of actually did work at Outset for a bit at the start. When it came down to like the start of Outset, I was the one who kind of told Tommy or I kind of convinced him, I guess, to start another retail, because I was with him one day and told him there's no real big shops in the Midwest, and you started Sky High. Like, why not try starting another one? What's there to lose right now? And then I was helping him out in the beginning and shipping out orders and all that for the first few months of it. But I wasn't working in a retail shop, I guess, but in terms of when it was in a storage unit in the beginning, I was working there and helping out with some stuff on Instagram and all that.
How important do you think things like Outset are for a local scooter community? Does it matter that it's only an online retailer and not a storefront? Do you think it could maybe create a more tight-knit community if it was a actual in-person retailer, so people would come there and sort of meet face-to-face?
I definitely think it helps a lot. There's a lot of people that might have never started scootering who found out about Sky High and only started from going into the shop and seeing it firsthand. And it definitely helps like a core scene in Chicago, I guess. There's a lot of people that always just regularly went into Sky High. A lot of those same people, and maybe some new ones, might go to Outset itself if it ever opened up a retail shop. Yeah,
like, do you think it would be in their best interest? Like, is it even financially worth their time to open up a real retailer? Because it seems like less and less people are going to any real in-person retailers of any kind.
Yeah, that's definitely a point. I think that it's all up to Tommy at this point, whatever he wants to do with it. I'm not sure if that's something he's trying to do or not. But I think if he wanted to do it, he could definitely do it. He's got a space right now that would be perfect for it.
Yeah, I mean, I know he told me when he was moving into his new warehouse that most of it was going to be a skate park, which I thought was great because, I mean, like skate park or scooter shop or whatever, like either of those things are going to bring people together in the Chicago scooter scene because it's like a place run by scooter riders that everybody can come to and hang out and have a real experience.
Definitely can have some events at the shop too if it ever opens. And if they actually do a skate park like they said, that'd be pretty sick. There's really no good indoor skate park besides Asylum around here. And Asylum's kind of it's this local indoor skate park that's kind of small and packed. So if we can have some sort of ramp set up that we could ride in the winter, that'd be perfect. Something like this, the scooter farm, for example. Like they have a nice little mini setup in there.
Yeah, definitely. And Tilt has those ramps in their warehouse, and all the local Grand Rapids scooter riders come and ride it. And that's like a really positive thing that they do for people. I think it's kind of like overlooked. It's not just like ramps in a warehouse.
Yeah, and even though they don't have too many ramps there, it's still enough for people to ride and go there all the time. So that's at least something like that would be perfect at Outset.
So what is the dynamic of being a filmer in the group? Does it do you like acknowledge it, or at what point did that occur?
Ever since I got a camera a few years ago, I always try to film as much as I can. So it's just a matter of, I think usually everyone just hits me up to film in Chicago.
It's kind of unique in the fact that you're also really trying to ride your scooter and like have people film you, but then you're really motivated to film other people. It just seems like it's kind of equal, and that's really hard to pull off. Most people just can't do it. It's like one or the other, you know?
Yeah, definitely is like a 50-50 thing, because I'm still like out here getting clips while I'm filming people. It's usually just, my goal is to film as many people as possible during the day, and then I'll try to set some time for me to get a clip or two if possible. And it's good because I usually ride with my friend Chris Doyle, and whenever we go out filming, it's usually the best because I can film him, and then he'll wind up filming me as well. And he's pretty good at filming too.
What is your inspiration for making scooter films? Where do you draw your inspiration from?
I don't really have one thing that I like look at and get inspired from. I basically just remember one day a couple years ago, I just kind of sat down and was like, I had a camera and wanted to get better at filming, so I just tried to look at different videos across all action sports and seeing how they're filmed and try to improve my filming, I guess. So I watched a lot of like skate videos and biking videos, rollerblading, all that. Recently I've actually been really into watching rollerblade videos because a lot of them are filmed really crazy, and I don't know, something different than just your typical skate video or BMX video.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they can follow people with a fisheye is, if you've never seen a rollerblade video, like I don't watch rollerblade videos, but when I see one, it's like a whole different thing because of how fast and smooth the fisheye footage looks. It kind of looks like it's on like a drone or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different than, probably the closest thing to it would be a skateboard, but even that, they can maneuver a lot better and follow the other person, as well as the fact that the rollerblades themselves you can get way closer to, less dangerous, because if you get a camera hit with the rollerblade, it's not as big as a deal as getting like a scooter or skateboard smashing the camera. And also I play a lot of roller hockey, so I've always thought about maybe filming on rollerblades, giving that a shot, but I don't know, we'll see.
Well, a bike would probably be the ultimate worst thing to film on, but a scooter is pretty bad too. It's not meant for filming.
Yeah, I think it still works pretty good though. It's just like a learning curve, I guess, to especially filming fisheye. But I think once you get used to riding with like one hand, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I know that Josh Smuckle, he prefers the sort of like Y style of scooter bars with the crossbar in it, so he can just grab onto the center with one hand and film.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. I've always been wanting to do that, but I have to stick with T-bars personally.
Do you think you can pinpoint a moment when you wanted to pursue filming? Was it kind of just like, well, I'm riding with all these people and nobody's filming, so I'm going to be the one to do it?
Yes, there wasn't really a specific moment. I kind of just wanted to continue making like YouTube videos. I was filming a lot of like single day park video edits and all that, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't like my filming at all. I think it looks terrible. So I just like try to get better at it, and eventually I got to a point where I thought it looked okay. I continued to make skate park videos like that, and then eventually I was already filming for people's parts and all whenever they came, So eventually I just sat down one day and like decided to start making like little street videos. Is the first thing I was doing recently, like single day videos. Like the first one I think I did was the one of Kuba. So I thought of like the idea of just making a single, like, 'cause I basically make a lot of single day park videos, and I'm like, I can do that downtown in the loop during the day, like 1 or 2 days. That'd be perfect. And then I tried it out with Kuba and it worked really well, so we did a few more of those. And then I just continued to try to make videos as fast as possible, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think that mentality is it's definitely progressive and refreshing, because I feel like street riding a lot of times is thought of this thing where you'll get one clip in one day, and that's great, and maybe you'll get like 4 clips in 1 month, and that's just perfect, and like you're doing fine, and then that makes the videos come out really slow. So there's these really slow street videos coming out, filmed over a year or two, and then there's these park videos which are like street inspired. It's sort of like street style at parks, coming out quickly, but then there's nothing in between. There's not like these street videos coming out quickly in between those two types of videos. And I think what you do, sort of the people just going around and like filming what they can quickly in a day, hasn't really been done before. So it was almost like you were experimenting, which you can do, because you're just like, you're not making videos for scooter companies. It's just like these indie scooter films. Do you sort of acknowledge that absolute freedom you have, and you just want to keep experimenting with it?
Yeah, I definitely like being able to do whatever I want. I try different things all the time. And I'm like really big about not doing everything in like one way and just following that way. For example, like not just making the typical, full length or just single part, and just trying out different things and making whatever video you feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think attitudes like that are great, because it seems like scootering and other related things are pretty conservative when it comes to experimentation. It's like people are very quick to judge and not accepting of a lot of different things, but so then it just becomes a circle of doing the same thing over and over again, because it's based on what was successful in the past.
I'm not one for like I said, the typical full length or single part. I think that's sick too, and I definitely do film for my own part that I've been working on for a while, and potentially might be working on a full length one day. But I do like the fact of just having something that shows like that rider in that specific point of time, because video parts show over a year or two, and it's cool to see someone's riding maybe from just a weekend or over the course of a month or something like that.
Yeah, totally. And I think those sorts of videos are a really good solution to filming Instagram clips. It's almost like you're filming in the same mentality of filming Instagram clips, but it's with a real camera on a different platform, and it becomes a little bit more permanent and important than Instagram clips.
Yeah, I think so too. Even like if someone were to say like just take their phone and film, a minute-long Instagram clip, but in the street, that you can just post that on YouTube. I think that'd be like way sicker, personally. They even have like the phone fisheyes now that you can just film with your phone. I think more people need to at least do that if they don't have a camera. I'm not like super against Instagram though. I think it definitely is sick to see people post on Instagram. But I think more people need to post on YouTube as well, more frequently. Maybe not even just their parts once a year or whatever, if they're doing that. Even if it's just like a little skate park video or something like that. A weekend street video or something like that, that'd be perfect.
Do you have a sort of process when you're deciding on making a video, like a creative process? Do you kind of go through it and plan it out?
Maybe in a way. I just think of some basic ideas and kind of just figure it out along the way. Like, for example, the kind of mid-length I put out this summer. That was basically just... I remember I was in New York in the beginning of June, I think I got back around like the 14th or 15th or something like that. And I decided, like, I can probably make like a maybe 10-20 minute long video by the end of the summer if I just film everyone who's here, because everyone's going to be coming this summer from like around the country. So I kind of just filmed the video over the course of like a month and a half or so. I made like I forget how long it was. I think it was like a 20-minute long video, give or take. And so that was like from the middle of June to the beginning of August I was filming that. So I kind of figured out what I wanted to do with that along the way. And originally it was going to be just like a Shy Guys video, I guess. But then a lot of people from outside came to the city. So I just incorporated everyone who wanted to get clips in it.
When I watched that video, it made me think it was sort of like the diversity of people in it was really refreshing, because it wasn't like everybody dressed the same way doing the same tricks. It seemed like an unbiased platform to show all of these various riders' styles, like riding in the same area, like riding around Chicago, but it sort of highlighted like how different scootering can be. Like, what is that guy's name? He was riding like the blue AO, and
yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say that. My friend Josh Trout, he's one of the most unique scooter riders too. He's been riding for I think like 17, 18 years or something like that, since like they first came out. But I was so like down to film him, because he never puts out any videos on YouTube or anything like that anymore. And it was cool. I remember like one clip in particular, he did like a feeble and then like grabbed his shoe, I think, or something. So I thought that was sick that he would do something like that. And then maybe Isaac Miller, for example, did like a 5.0 to fakie on that same ledge. Everyone will do something different on the same spots. So that was kind of cool to incorporate all that.
Yeah, it was really like refreshing and surprising. Like when his footage came up, it was like, what is this? But it just, I think like the way it was filmed, and I don't know, like I enjoyed it. And I've seen that guy over the years in Chicago, like at every single one of the jams, and I've seen him ride, but it was just, to see him in that video, it was pretty cool, because I knew he had been around for like since the beginning.
I definitely try to film stuff like that over anything else. I think that's the sickest. Even though people might not like the style as much and all that, but I think it's pretty cool to have people of all different sorts of styles.
When I watch your montages, like of the people in New York, it kind of made me feel like all these underrepresented areas. It's like New York is so great, and the scooter riders in New York are great, but just for some reason, there's like no videos that ever come out from New York, and they're all riding all the time, but it's just like there's no record of it. So did you feel like it was kind of your duty? It's like, oh, well, I should go display these people because they deserve it.
Like nothing like that. I just kind of like going to New York a lot and was there a couple times. The first time was just, I planned to go for a little bit to go back, because I've been there 3 times now, I believe. And while I was there, I was just like, originally I think I was trying to film a single like video of Eric Deptula and maybe Michael Mankong as well while I was there. And we were filming, and basically it was just with huge crews the whole time. And I'm like, all right, if you guys want to get clips, I'll just make like a, couple minute street video while I'm here. So the first one, that's what happened. Just kind of by chance. It wasn't really planned. And then the second time along, I went, I think it was when Louis Opal was there. And basically just the same thing. I just went and I'm like on vacation, and I decided to film another small video. And Badger happened to be there, and a few others from out of town.
Okay, because just when I see the videos, I was just sort of like so appreciative, because whenever I go to New York, I see all those guys ride, but I'm always like, well, where are the videos? Like nobody will ever see these people scooter that don't come here or don't live here. You know what I mean? So it was so good that you made those videos and showed their scooter riding. I mean, obviously I know they film scootering on Instagram, but it's a whole different thing when they're in a video like that.
Yeah, I think one thing that's hard is New York's so spread out, and basically, I think Cott's like one of the only person, John Cottle, he's one of the only people with a camera there, and he lives outside the city, so it's not always pretty easy to get clips over there. I think maybe more people need to get cameras out there is the case. That's the main thing. And I know J Cott's been filming every time he's there, but there's so many people too who live in New York compared to the one filmer.
Yeah, I mean, I know John. He has like years of footage from New York, and he says he's gonna make a full length, and I really hope he does. But you know, I want it to come out sometime. It's like there just gets to a point where it's like, I don't know if it's like more than like 3 years or something. I don't know. The scootering is so different back then. It's like you just need to put out something.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I have like the same kind of problem with my street video I've been making. I basically had a finished video like over a year ago that I never posted, and it got to a point where I just like, this footage is too old and don't know what to do with it. So I think I'm just gonna wind up posting that eventually, sometime soon. And it's all stuff that like I don't like the filming as much, you know. I look way different. It was like 2 or 3 years ago, doing different tricks. So I think it'd be kind of cool to post it eventually, but I don't know when that eventually is gonna be. And I'm also filming for like, I already started like a second video I've been working on.
When you're filming people, do you give direction to them? Or, I mean, does it depend on the person? Like, do you have a vision for your video and you're like, okay, well, let's go here and you should ride this, or maybe like film a line going this direction or something like that?
I definitely like give a lot of, you know, like maybe tips or something like that, or suggestions to people. Like maybe if they wanted to try one trick and I said, if you're trying that, why don't you try this instead? It might be sicker. And sometimes people might listen to that and do that. Sometimes they don't want to, whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I know it differs from person to person. It's like some people have to be like just guided through it. They're basically like blank canvases that are like really good at scooter riding, but they just have no idea what to do. So you have to like tell them. And then there's other people that they know exactly what spot they want to ride and they know exactly what they want to do on it. But just for things, I noticed like how you have all those, I guess like real life transitions, like where you sort of like pan to the side of a ledge or something like that. Like stuff like that has to be planned out. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, you'll do this line here and then you'll do another thing in the same place so I can...
Definitely on that. Sometimes I'll just randomly think of I'll see something and be like, hey, it'd be kind of cool to wrap around this and then transition it. So I'll tell them basically to be like, hey, after you learn that trick, like, you know, turn to the left a little bit and I'm going to film the side of the wall for a second or something like that, for example. And then maybe the next clip will be like, all right, so I'm going to start off the clip all the way over here and film it this way, just letting you know. And then I'll just kind of do that while they're doing their trick. But like one person I remember, for example, is awesome ride with or film with is Reese, because I'll basically tell Reese to do a trick, like any trick, and he'll wind up doing it. So I'll just be like, hey Reese, I think you can whip into this, and he'll be like, all right, and just do it first try, because that kid's insane at scootering. So it's fun filming with him a lot.
Seeing stuff like that, it pushes past the just filming a bunch of clips and editing them together for a compilation style thing, because it's like you can see it's like, oh, they had an idea, you know, they had a vision before they were editing this, like they're planning this out as they're filming, which I don't really see much of that, I don't think. I mean, I know it's just like planning a camera movement or something, but it really adds to it.
Yeah, well, I always try to do little things whenever I can. I've always been trying to do that. Usually most videos I put out have at least like one little transition I thought of.
Do you prefer to run or ride when you film? I know I've seen footage of you running like very far distances, and that I've never really seen many people do that.
It definitely depends on the spot. I've been doing that a little less now. The video I made of Christian was kind of like an experiment to see. I personally think that's a little bit too extreme for my liking. But yeah, depending on the spot, sometimes like it might be, you can get a little bit closer, and if you didn't just use your scooter. Sometimes I think it's not needed. If it's like if it's a line that's not, too much of a line and just doing a couple of tricks. Like, for example, like on a mani pad or something, you don't need to use your scooter most of the time.
And for these trips, like to New York, I know so your dad works for the airlines. Is that what it is?
Yeah, my dad works at American Airlines, so I kind of have the connect to go places. I just fly standby. And what standby means is you basically just, instead of buying a ticket, you would just show up and hopefully get on the plane if there's an extra seat. So they give it to people whenever there's a plane that has some extra seats. But it sucks sometimes because sometimes there might not be an available seat for a while, and you have to wait at the airport until, maybe one of the next planes has one. That happened to me on the last time I went to New York, actually. It was pretty packed from all the storms. So I just wound up going back home and tried again the next day because there was no chance of me getting on.
But I mean, that's a pretty good connection if like you're trying to go to these areas and make videos of people, sort of just like single area videos.
Yeah, I definitely think I don't use it enough as I should. So next year I'm going to be probably going a lot of places. And even like right now, I'm able to go to the Sovereign event in Arizona for that reason.
Do you have any stories about the Chicago scooter scene over the years, or sort of how it's evolved over the years? Because when Jack Colson and Alec Backus moved there, they moved there a while ago, right? Like it was probably, 2014?
I met Alec after he moved, actually. But I think he's been here for a while. He moved, I think, after high school. So I think he came in 2013, I want to say. And then Jack came about a year or two ago. He came a couple years later.
Yeah, because I feel like they had a really huge effect on the Chicago scene because of how motivated they were with seeking out new spots and filming. I mean, they created that entire full length, which I don't know when it's going to come out, but I'm sure it's going to be great. Did you feel that energy? Was that energy like in the Chicago scene when they were there?
Yeah, definitely. They were really committed on filming that full length. So I know most of the time we would be like at a skate park or something, for example, and they would just be like on a mission to get a clip somewhere that's a 45-minute scooter ride away or something like that. So they always were filming for that. That was what they wanted to do. So they definitely were a lot more motivated than, I'd say, the average person here.
Like I said, it's sort of evolved over the years from the early days of Sky High, and then Tilt being here, and then Tilt leaving, and Sky High breaking up, and then Alec and Jack moving there, and then like a lot of people moving out of state. It's definitely over the years, like it's had a lot of changes. But do you think that the same amount of people are still doing it there, or do you think it's in decline?
I mean, people are still doing stuff. I say like, the scene in general has kind of slowed down a little bit in Chicago. I don't know if people have realized, because there's basically Tommy and Justin are just always doing outset stuff, and pretty much the only people really riding downtown Chicago are usually like Shane, Chris, and I. There's a couple of younger guys like my brother and Riley Pearson. Dom from Wisconsin is living here now, but I'm probably missing a few names, but that's basically the only people who are really riding downtown. Sometimes Kuba.
Oh yeah, Riley. I saw the full length he made. It seems like him and his group of friends are really going out and doing it, which is great. I actually talked to him over the summer a lot about the videos he was making, and I was pretty positive to see, because it's like kids like him are the future. I think he's like 15 or 16 years old, and what he does is already pretty ambitious.
Yeah, he's actually a little bit older than he seems now. He's, I think, 18. He just got out of high school, yeah. But he definitely is like getting better and on the come up. If you guys haven't checked out his stuff already, check him out. He just put out a video actually of him and Sammy, who lives in Australia. He was here for the street jam and staying at his house. So they put out a little like split street video, I think yesterday or the day before, if you've seen that or not.
No, I haven't.
I'll check that out.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
I'll have to check that out. So what inspired you to plan the event after the Chicago Street Jam this year?
The first idea of it was I was at my aunt's house, who happens to live right next to the venue, and they're really close with those people, so we had a family party at that place actually, and I went inside, was like thinking this place is perfect to like have something after the jam this year, if like there were to be a video premiered, which also kind of helped me decide on making a video, because I realized I could probably film a video and premiere it at the street jam. So it kind of was like, that was last December, so when that happened, so I talked to the people and they said that we could rent it out. So it's a perfect venue for the event after the street jam.
And did you have the idea for the art show also?
Basically, I figured, like, I think Tommy and I were talking, and Ian, if we can have some stuff displayed, like Sky High could sell some merch and all that. I think we're definitely trying to do that again next year. At least I'm going to try to make it happen if they don't want to. I think we can do it a little better this year, even at the same place, because that place I think was perfect for it.
I don't think people realized kind of how important it was, because I don't think anything like that has ever been done before. I mean, there's been premieres for scooter films, but the sort of like art show and premiere and just general like place for people to get together. I mean, usually it was like just a bunch of people like absolutely jam-packed in Alec and Jack's apartment, just getting drunk and like talking about scootering. So I thought it was really great that you could do something a little bit more in-depth that brought people together.
Yeah, that was another reason too, is like previously we'd just be in a tiny apartment with 100-something people. So we figured this year we needed to do something different. We liked the idea of how Tilt 2 was set up and how that was an actual event after the street jam. So we figured we can incorporate a little bit more into it, and have maybe, there's a lot of people that did art and photography, and as well as like people that wanted to perform. So that was kind of cool to see like Shane and Eric Two Real and KZ perform.
Yeah, it was great how like there are all these different things, but they were all done by scooter riders. Like Justin's band played, and I don't think anything like that has ever happened at a scooter event, and it worked out great. But I just remember being there and like looking around, like just thinking like, man, this is incredible. Like this is so, like, this is an actual community of scooter riders. Like when scootering is so internet based, and when you see all these people together in real life, it's like this new level of community, I guess. I think, I mean, not just in the next year for the Chicago Jam, but for places all over, to have events like this would be amazing. And it's not that hard to do.
I hope other places and other jams, or other, even if it's not a street jam, this would be kind of cool to see other people doing this across the country, across the world even.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not like scootering is only 16-year-old kids. There's so many people that are actual adults that probably go to things like this anyway, show like live music or art shows and stuff like that. It's like, why can't it just be related to scootering?
And if basically we could have put it on with such a small budget and all, I think other companies or other people even could do it. Just basically put a couple $100 to rent out a place for the night, and then premiere a video, do whatever you want to do, even do more than what's done previously this year.
Was it were you pretty nervous to premiere your video?
Definitely a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It was pretty much all ready to go and all. I was just a little bit worried because we had it all set up and we forgot an HDMI cord. So that was the big thing that night. And one of my friends came and happened to go find a HDMI cord somewhere in the city. So I'm thank him for that, because otherwise I would probably had to drive back home or drive to a different store to go pick one up, and I couldn't have left the place while all that was happening.
The one sort of bizarre thing about that night was how before the premiere, everybody was watching a boxing match like projected onto the wall. Pretty much everybody at that place was sitting down just watching it, so focused, and like next to like the art and like after the live music, it was just such a like variety of things.
Which I think is kind of cool because it shows that we don't all have to just be scooter riders all the time, you know? We can do other things as well. Like, all those people are all friends and are like other things besides scootering. Like that fight was one thing that showed that.
I don't watch boxing or anything. I don't know anything about it. And I just walked into the room. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, I remember there definitely was a couple things that happened that night too. Like, one of the big problems that place has is random people showing up. So we had to have people at the door watching. And we had a couple random people come in, really sketchy people it looked like. And they just kind of came in, saw that there was a show going on and walked in. There's just a couple like 45-year-old men that just came in randomly. We had to like kick them out. So like stuff like that happened, people didn't even realize. Luckily we had someone watching the door, otherwise it would have been some random guy just at that event. Especially there's like some expensive equipment sitting there.
What are your future plans for your scooter riding and your filming? Do you have anything? Do you have a general direction of where you want to take stuff in the future?
Well, I have a couple of videos that I'm just starting right now that I'm going to be working on that probably, hopefully, might be out. There'll be some longer videos, so hopefully they'll be out later this year. Or next year, actually. Like, maybe next summer, hopefully. I don't want to say what they are yet, but I got 2 main ones I'm working on. So I think I talked to you about the one, but I don't want to make that public yet. That's kind of the goal right now. So hopefully I can get that done. Other than that, I'm going to be working on my own part. I think I might incorporate my part in one of my videos and not release it on its own, most likely. But we'll see. I have a decent amount of clips right now.
Yeah, what are you going to do this winter? What do you usually do?
During the winter, I don't scooter as much, but usually I scooter whenever I go somewhere. So I'll probably wind up going to maybe Arizona again or Cali and filming there. Because you can't really ride Chicago during the winter most of the time. And even if it's like dry out, it's still like 20 degrees.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, there's no way. do you get to an indoor skate park like Asylum or something like that?
I ride Asylum sometimes, but it's I think like 50 minutes away from me, and the fact that it's like $13, $14 to ride for a couple hours, I always rather just not ride a lot of the times. But every once in a while, I'll go there. I actually miss having the Sky shop because when I was working there, the ramps that are currently at the Tilt warehouse right now in Michigan were there. So it was always fun to just go in whenever and ride that.
Yeah, that's why Outset would be so good. I mean, even if I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a group of people could get together and like pitch in money or something and just build like a skate park, an indoor skate park for the Chicago scooter scene. Or I mean, I'm sure Tommy can afford to just build it on his own too, but
yeah, I think that's not the first like priority for Tommy right now. That's the only thing going on. But I think they do plan to do that. I think Justin's probably really pushing that, my guess. Whenever they get a chance to do that, they probably will do it.
The only thing is it's so close to Asylum, so you would still have to drive the same distance.
The opportunity to ride it at any time and like not have to pay to ride a skate park is probably a lot better than that.
Yeah, I always do that at my local indoor park. I'll refuse to ride it unless I cannot ride outside. Like I postpone it until I have to ride inside over the winter. So I don't because I don't know. I get kind of sick of my local skate park, and then it's like there's some days where I only want to stay for an hour, and it's like, man, I don't want to pay like $12 to stay for 1 hour. It just, and then you feel like forced to ride the skate park for longer because you paid the money and you don't even like want to be there.
Especially since it's a pretty big city, and that's the only. I mean, there are other indoors. I think there's one that allows scooters, but they don't have heat, so it just gets really, really cold. It's just like you're outside. So there's really no point to ride that. It's called Autobahn. And then there's the new Vans one, but they just allow skateboards. I think actually Justin somehow got in he had an Instagram clip there. They let him in for like 5 minutes or something. Asylums definitely sucks during the winter because so many people show up and there's no way you can ride while you're there in that tiny skate park.
And then it sucks in the summer because it's like, why am I here?
You'll be the only ones there.
All right, well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, I will talk to you later.
All right, have a good one.
See ya. All right, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the episode with Richard. For any comments or questions or really anything, you can email thetandempod@gmail.com. Remember that these episodes come out every Friday on the last month, and I try to stick to that schedule as best I can, and so far I've been able to do it, so I will continue to do it. And also thanks to Ben Bursell for the graphic design and intro and outro music for this. It's been a great help. So I'm still working on getting it on iTunes. I've been really busy with mainly traveling these past couple months, and I just want to do it the correct way so that the files hosted will pretty much be hosted forever and not get taken down because of switches in hosting, and then they wouldn't be available on iTunes anymore. So that's going to be in the future. So yeah, that's about it. Look for the episode next month. See ya.